And welcome back to Turner Music Academy. I am your host and instructor, Michael Turner. You already know. Thank you so much for being patient with me. It feels so long since I made part 5. That was the Empire Strikes Back of this series, and now we're going to get into the Return of the Jedi of this series, which is minor scales. So, first of all, you've all seen this before. Two things. All right, I would like to exemplify a little boo-boo that I made. This should not say natural minor scale here. This should say relative minor. And it makes sense because you've seen this before too. Go back and watch the videos before this if you've not seen them. Okay? So, all right, so like for every music theoretician ever teaching someone, let's start at C major. And then all you have to do to figure out relative minor is on your chromatic scale, go back 3 half steps. So if we go back, as I just showed you, 3 half steps from C, we're going to A. Look at that. All right, let's do G major. All right, and I'm going to prove theory correct. So G major, 1, 2, 3. Oh, how about that? D major, okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh, now what about that? Okay, A major. And we went from here previously to here. Now let's go 1, 2. What's that? All right. Now F major. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Oh. Okay, B flat major. Okay, B flat. A sharp. We're not in A sharp. That's the enharmonic equivalent. B flat. 1. A flat. 2, 3. G. Okay. A G minor. E flat major. Okay. E flat. D. D flat C. Oh, look at that. Lo and behold, okay, so you've seen this before too. This is not for major. You'll see, oh, look at that. It's for minor. Now, how do we calculate minor? So, first of all, write out, get your compasses out if you got them, all right? You need to draw a circle, and again, there's more to the circle of fifths than just the B Joseph, and then, then the B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat. There's actually a lot more to it. You can like Google. The point is, I'm not going to teach that information in this video, okay? But how we calculate the key, this is again for key signatures, okay? And here we have our sharps, and then our flats, and then the acronyms Bede, Joseph, and Skadeb. All right, don't do that at home. All right. So, Father Christmas gave Dad an electric blanket. All right. So, how we calculate a key is, you see, I've done it similar. It's very similar, but instead of C, you start at A. Okay. So in A, all of the, going, so like if you could rotate it 90 degrees, in theory, I wouldn't recommend that you do this in theory because, again, you can do it, but the point is that A basically becomes our 12 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock, okay? But you can just leave it this way, and then from A, all of the notes that would be clockwise get a sharp, okay? And all of the notes counterclockwise get a flat. So if I were to come over here and say, okay, well, how many, so F major, how do I calculate the minor key to D minor? All right, so I would come here and I would know, okay, same principle applies. I go to D, so that's 1 tick away, and this is the flat side. So D minor has 1 flat in it. And you know that F major has 1 flat in it. Okay? I love Craig Ferguson. Don't worry about it. All right. Anybody seen Craig Ferguson? Way back in the day, like late show. All right. So I'm going to do it just because I'm a teacher. Bueller. All right. So anyways, so let's try another example. Whoa, we're malfunctioning. It's like, what in the... All right, sorry about that. I don't know why that happened. It's still going. All right. Okay. So now what if I was to say, all right, let's do... Okay, let's do F sharp minor. Okay. And you should know this from my video. How many sharps does the key of A major have in it, because A major is the relative minor of F sharp? So again, you see, factually proven now how much of a boon theory is in a very small light, for lack of better words. But let's look at our circle of fifths. So we come to A. F sharp, as you can see, I've emphasized this, is the enharmonic equivalent of G flat, while F sharp on a musical staff will never be G flat, and G flat will never be F sharp, D flat, C sharp, A flat, G sharp, amongst anything else. Let's calculate the key of F sharp. So we start at A and we go 1, 2, 3. And it has 3 sharps in it. And does that ring true? Oh, yeah. All right, so you get the idea. Play around with this at home and enjoy it, okay? It's for you. Okay, so let's dive into minor scales now. There are 3 of them, and I'm going to be talking about one kind of in depth today, a little bit more depth than the other 2. I'm not going to tell you. All right, so I'm just going to get into it. So the first one, there are 3 of them, and why I kind of gave that spiel earlier is because they have names and they do things and you have to perform them differently, but I'll talk about that. So a little bit, because I'm not going to talk about the vast majority of the other 2. But the natural minor scale, it's called the natural minor scale because it exists, in all sincerity, naturally within the major scale. Okay? So here we have, the other 2 are harmonic minor and then melodic minor, and we'll get to those. But again, I'm not going to tell you like why it's called harmonic minor and then why this is called melodic minor. Mozart knew, but it's not for this video, okay? So ways to calculate, to figure out the minor scale. Well, just like major scale, it does have a formula you can use, okay, which is WH, so whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step would be the formula. So if we look again here for C major and A minor, if I remember correctly, A minor has a sharp in it, and I don't think I wrote it down here. So here's our formula, okay, and here's our chromatic scale. So we start at A, okay, whole step to B, half step to C, whole step to D, whole step to E, half step to F, whole step to G, and a whole step back to A. I guess I was wrong. Well, and I knew that because I did that the other day. Anyways, there's another way that you can calculate this. Here's an example of the G. Before I get into that, here's an example of the G minor scale. So here we go. Let's apply the formula. And G minor is the same as B flat major, and I've given several examples in B flat major. So how many flats does G minor have? Well, let's go to our circle of fifths, and we go start at A, and we have 1, 2. So we're in G minor, so we know it, and this is the flat side, so it has 2 flats. And then now let's just in all sincerity, plug in our formula. It's like cheat codes, man. All right. So we're going to start at G. We go whole step to A, half step to B flat. Okay. Whole step to C, whole step to D, half step to E flat, whole step to F, and a whole step back to G. So you see it works. And the next way how you do it is kind of, I've already shown this, which is you use the circle of fifths and calculate the key signature, and then you write in the notes. So like this. So the C natural minor, this is ascending. I did not touch on this in a previous video, but there are two different ways that you can write scales. You can write them ascending and descending. Oh yeah, so like for this one, I actually was gonna do this, put this first in this video. Silly Michael. Did 40K on the bike today, so forgot. Anyways, so this, in the last video I gave this example for B flat major. And then I added it in red and green here for descending. So this is what a descending scale would look like. Another great example would be the major exercise, the do ti la do ti la do ti la exercise I did earlier. So this would be C natural minor ascending. Okay, so we've calculated our key signature. And again, in all sincerity, we know that the key of E flat major, I've also given several examples, well, at least one example of E flat major. But you should know this anyways because, again, of the circle of fifths. So if we want E flat, and I know I wrote minor here, but again, like so we're not going to start at A, we're going to start at C like in a previous video for major, okay? And now let's go to E flat. So 1, 2, 3. So again, you would know that the key of E flat has 3 flats in it. So, and we know that E flat major, and these are just a few examples. Like I said, you can make a chromatic scale at home and use it and then calculate any relative minor to any note chromatically. So here we have C natural minor, and again, from this example, we know that it should in theory have flats in it. But in music theory, one of the reasons why I think it's so great is because should often means it will, like 95% of the time. So let's talk about this, dive into it. Okay, so we've calculated our key signature. And then, as I said earlier in step 2, we write out the scale. And that should do it. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's all you have to do. So, again, understanding the theory behind the scales is really important because, the scales you understand, they're not just the notes, like just reading a scale or whatever. And then again, the theory behind all of them is that it's all if you compose music, okay, notice how here, I'm not going to use this example, but notice how here all of the notes, as in the other previous examples that I've given, they're all like this. Like all of them have, they're like placeholders. So even though these have flats in them, and I've shown you how to do that, it's always going to be, if you're an A, it's always going to be like here. You see how it works, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Okay, so we're in C minor, not major now. And so to calculate the C natural minor ascending, you just C, D, we know the key signature, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, and C. Again, I don't write any of the accidentals in because they're already calculated. And now we have descending. Okay, so here's that C minor descending. And again, in comparison with the C major scale, this would just be, you know what it is, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, okay? That's how simple it is, okay? So descending, we have our octave, our leading, our submediant, our dominant, our subdominant, our mediant, our supertonic, and our tonic. So we're going to have C, B flat, A flat, G, F, E flat, D, and C. Okay, and that's how that works. So the next one I'm going to talk about is harmonic minor. I kind of have to go quick now. Harmonic minor scale is, all of these are relatively the same. So the difference between the harmonic minor scale and the natural minor scale is that it's the same as the first two steps that I showed you. It is not the same formula. I have written down a formula for you to use here, but what you want to do is raise the seventh, so the leading tone, or as I call them, intervals, and that was really more like scratching the surface on intervals, like I said. Would love to do another video about that in the future. You need to raise it by a seventh, the seventh by a semitone or a half step. Okay, so ascending and descending for the scale. So showing you, here's ascending and descending. So for both, this note here would get raised a half step. So like if this was C harmonic minor, this note here, B flat, would get raised to B. So the notes would, and for both of these, this one would also get raised to B. So the scale would then become C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B, C. Okay, and vice versa. C, B, A flat, G, F. That's a terrible F, isn't it? E flat, D, and C. I'm a calligrapher. Anyways. So, okay, so those are the three steps. And then this is your formula you can use. So whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Then 6 is a whole plus a half step, and then to a half step. That's if you want to be smart and prove your intellectual superiority to everyone else in the room, okay? But you really can't, it really is this simple. And honestly, I do encourage everyone to just write it out, because again, like when you write it out, like you can use different notes. You see how you can come up with melodies, you know? And again, these are just pure examples based on the scales, but you can jump, you know? And again, I've not really talked about that, but you can do it. And if you know theory, you know you definitely can. So, treble clef, key of B flat, or what did I say? What's the relative minor of B flat? G minor, okay? So we know that this note is an F, so we're in G. We start at G, and here's our scale. Okay, G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F sharp to G. Okay. And I'm trying to see if so I did so here's the G natural minor, and this is the seventh, and all we've done is raise it by a half step. So here's our seventh, and we raise it by a semitone or half step, and we go to G sharp. And the reason why we go to F sharp, and the reason why we go to F sharp as opposed to G flat is because this writing G flat in there would be incorrect. Okay? So that's ascending. And here we go to descending. So here you see I've raised it again. There it is. All right? Melodic minor scale I'm going to talk about in the next video. So stay tuned for that. And also chords, we might do a part 8. All right, thank you. Have a great day. Oh, last thing. Consider being a supporter of this channel. I'm also a designer, draftsman, painter. There's over 50 listings on Etsy.com if you love painting or you like design and you've always like dreamed of having a, Da Vinci or a Picasso or really anybody that's like Cezanne or Van Gogh or like any of their stuff. All of their stuff is the stuff that I've been doing the past couple of years, which is design. And not many artists in the world today even know about the Golden Section, which is responsible for the Parthenon, and the Mona Lisa, and tons of architectural buildings, and pretty much the Starry Night. The Potato Eaters, Paul Cézanne's work. I mean, so many artists. Mondrian, amongst others. So if you are interested in any of that sort of stuff and you want custom work and it's nice and, I make personal pieces, which are in 9-inch by 12-inch sizes, and then also like 18-inch by 24-inch renderings. And then I do oil on canvas as well. So if you're interested and if you would, go ahead and message me on Etsy or just, drop a favorite or whatever if you'd want to. Thanks.